My next guest makes his return to the cage on June 7th when Lou Neglia's Ring of Combat returns to Atlantic City for Ring of Combat 84. He's one half of what could have been CFFC's Fight of the Year if they did 2023 awards, but they did not. He's the Italian Stallion, Nick Caracappa. How's it going today, Nick?
How's it going, man? Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Last time out, you made your pro debut. Highly anticipated. Originally scheduled to fight Craig Willem. He ends up pulling out. On days of notice, you get a new opponent. Current interim lightweight champion, Marquez Fares. How'd that fight come together? And was it more so just like fighting anybody because that's how you guys roll? Or was it like a good name? Like, how did that fight all come together?
So I think my opponent pulled out about 3 days before weigh-ins on that Friday. So I was waiting for like a couple days, like whether it was a day or two. I was waiting for CFFC to send me an opponent. At that point, I was down to fight anybody they sent. I was signing the contract. It didn't matter if they were 3-0, 2-0, 0-5. I was signing the contract, and they came to me with a guy I believe that was 2-0 at the time. And it was a great fight. I was game for it. I learned a lot in that fight that I'm going to take into this next fight, definitely.
That's kind of what from the fan side, looking in, that's kind of what I got out of it too. It was like, that's probably going to be one of the hardest fights you have on the regional circuit.
Definitely.
And that was your debut. So, I mean, like, what's the worst to have that as your first one?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks when you look at it on like paper. I'm not an 0-1 fighter. I think I'm the best 0-1 fighter in the world, honestly. And second, I just know there's a lot of guys in this fight game, especially in the regional where I fight, that they handpick their opponents, they cherry pick them, and if it's a hard fight, they're turning the fight down. They're going with the guy with less wins and more losses every single time. And it even just goes to show with Marquise Forrest, who we fought last time. That guy was 5-0, and who'd he really beat to even get to be in that position? There was a lot of hype on that guy too, and he folded in the second round.
Yeah, that was a fight that I am buddied with both of those guys, so it was hard to watch. But it's kind of how I figured it would go, just because of like Marquez. He did the right amateur career, and then so far in his pro.
And I'm good buddies with Marquise now. That guy, the way he designs his fighting career, I'm trying to implement that into my career as well, because I can learn some things from everybody I fight, and if I learned anything from anybody, it would definitely be him. We battled out there for sure, and he showed me what I'm capable of on days' notice, what a guy didn't even train for.
Yeah, and I can say without disclosing things that me and him talk about, like, he's really high on your career too. Mm-hmm. Like, it's one of the coolest things to probably see come out of an all-out war, because that was definitely 15 minutes of war.
Nonstop action. Yeah, that was nonstop action. And I look back at that fight, I'm like, damn, my cardio sucks, which I definitely improved it for this fight. But like the pace that we were fighting at for 5-minute rounds, you don't see too many people fight like that for 15 minutes. That was like a UFC caliber pace of a war.
Yep. I think that was actually what I said to one of our mutual friends, Tyler from Mon's Basement. I was like, dude, like this fight should not have been. I think it was even like either a card opener or a prelim. I was like, whatever it was fucked up. It should have been
that card opener.
Like it was.
Yeah, and it was my debut. I was trying to get a little higher in the card. I didn't have any other Dante's guys on the card either. I was trying to get a little bit past the opener.
So by the time you do make the walk though on the 7th, it'll be 9 months since your time away. You're usually about a 5-6 month between fights. Did you plan on taking this time off, or was this kind of just like, because there ain't shit in our area going on right now?
Yeah, there's really not. I never plan on staying out of the cage for more than a short while. Like, if it was up to me, I would be fighting every 3-4 months. I would get a fight, take a week off, enjoy my food, and then get right back into camp. But shit never plays out like that. It's always something happening. It's life, you got to just adapt to it. I think this doesn't even feel like that, honestly, that long of a turnaround. I guess because I was always in the gym, and I take it at my own pace. I really didn't try to rush into a next fight. I wasn't trying to get right back in there, because I was offered a few fights in I believe December. Couldn't get an opponent locked down for CFFC. And then it was just a waiting game after that. I was hitting up every promotion trying to get on the card. I was tagging them on Instagram, trying to fight people. I was just trying to get a fight. And now, finally, got one June 7th at the Tropicana.
In June 7th, you are making your Ring of Honor, or Ring of Combat. I keep saying Ring of Honor. Ring of Combat debut. A promotion that your brother Phil, like, he came up under Ring of Combat. He had a few CFFCs near the later part of his career. Mm-hmm. when you make the walk, you'll be facing Alex Brown out of Law MMA. So everyone knows Law MMA because of Aljo and Marab and all the names out of there. They're not fighting you, so it doesn't matter who the fuck they train with.
Yeah.
What have you seen from your opponent, and how do you see this one going?
I watched a couple of his fights. His record definitely isn't what he actually is, because his record's like 1-5, but he's better than a 1-5 fighter. I have to give him that. He's explosive, but honestly, man, when we're in there and where he's fighting me, it's gonna be a different ballgame than whoever he's fought in his career. Because I know for a fact I hit harder than everybody he's fought. I wrestle better than everybody, and I'm gonna walk through him. I believe. I think I'm gonna be too much for him. He's fought guys at 55 and 45, and I'm a big 70-pounder. I walk around over 200 pounds to even make 70, and the power difference is gonna be a big, big difference come June 7th.
Then with the one here, you do move to 1-1 in your pro career. Do you want to try to get back quick? I mean, I guess come June and July, we usually have Steve FC kind of in rotation. You have Maverick,
Yeah.
Art of War, and then of course Ring of Combat with their rotation in AC as well. Do you plan on coming back quickly? And any promotion you want to go to?
I'm gonna see how June 7th goes with Ring of Combat, because like you said, my brother did come up with Ring of Combat and he fought with them up until the Contender Series. I see a lot of people sticking to one promotion when there's multiple promotions in the United States that you could fight for to get to the end goal of the UFC. And I'm not like stubborn on fighting for one promotion. I think I'm honestly gonna I don't know if I'm going to sign a deal with Ring of Combat, but I think I'm going to fight some fights with them and try to get the 170-pound belt from Ring of Combat, and make my way over to CFFC when I'm the champ. That's like my goal. I'm putting it out there into the world. I'm going to try and get like 4 or 5 fights in Ring of Combat, get the belt, and then call out whoever the CFFC champ is for CFFC, whatever it is, and do like a big fight. And then that fight will get me to the Contender Series, I believe.
And that seems to be a lot of Ring of Combat champions pathways as well. We just had Robert Watley come back in, and we had Armando. I'm not going to say his last name because I don't know how to say it from Law. They all came in. Robert actually at least took the belt. Armando did not have the success, but that seems to be the path where you build it up over there, and then you kind of come over to the Fight Pass guys, and then you get brought up.
Which sucks, because like I feel like I'm one of the most exciting fighters on the East Coast easily that's not signed to the UFC, and I have one pro fight, but every fight I'm in, I believe it's fight of the night, or just there's a lot of hype that goes into my fights. I think I really deserve to be like a Fight Pass fighter. But whatever I fight on, I think the noise will make itself, and people will still tune in to wherever it's going to be on, whether it's Fight TV or Fight Pass.
And then it kind of asks where you want to go after this. And focus on June 7th. When you do go to pick up the next fight, is it kind of like you just sign the contract, or is it like you sit down and kind of have like a kumbaya with Dante, you kind of vibe on it, and then you figure it out, or like, what's the process on your end?
Honestly, I say I get sent 5 guys, I'll look them all over. If their record sucks, I really don't want to fight them, because I feel like it's a lose-lose situation. If I beat the guy, okay, he has a shitty record, and if I lose, it's even fucking worse, losing to a guy with a bad record. But I don't really know. I'm not scared to fight anybody. And a lot of people say that, but I really genuinely mean that. Like, I'm always nervous and scared going into the fight, but like when I'm backstage, like I feel like a warrior. I'm fearless, and I feel like I'm gonna kill my opponent when I get in the cage. That being said, like I know what I need to do to feel like that, and there's a lot of things that like distract me from feeling like that. So once I get my head on straight, like I do for this fight, I really think everything's gonna click together, and it's gonna be a really quick night.
Nice. And then just want to stick with Dante real fast.
Oh
So
wait,
you've
I'm
been there
sorry.
for
I didn't even answer your question. I didn't even answer your fucking question. I fight anybody. That's the answer. I will fight. Nothing really goes into it. There's no really sitting down looking into an opponent. I've called people out for fights, and just like that, the fight's been made. People have called me out. I messaged the company saying make the fight without even talking to Dante. The fight gets made. If they call me out, I'll fight. And I just feel like if they're messaging me somebody with a name, all I can do is fight them. That's the only thing I can prove is just by beating them.
That's awesome, because I know some gyms in our area, it's a lot of sit down with the coach and kind of look for winnable fights
Yeah.
instead of just fighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No, it's pathetic like that, because everyone claims to be a fighter today, but like I feel like most people do it for social media just to say that they're a fighter. And nobody really wants to get in there and fucking fight. Everybody says they want to get in there and fight, but when they get in there, they don't fight. They pick their shots and they try to wrestle. I do the complete opposite. I move forward the entire time and I'm swinging for the fences.
You know, and then touching on Nick Dante and Dante Rivera BJJ, you've been there for over a decade. You've been there for half your life at this point.
Yeah.
How'd you come across Dante, and like, you know, and what has his mentorship and leadership kind of meant to you in your career so far?
Dude, I've known Dante since I was, I think, 14, 15 years old. So I started training there 2014. I wrestled my whole life from when I was a little boy till I was in college. I wrestled. I was a college wrestler as well. And I always knew like wrestling was my sport, but MMA was going to be my NFL after it was over. And by junior year of college, I definitely was burnt out from wrestling, and I came home from school. I finished out online, and I started training MMA when I was 20, like full time, and I debuted like 6 months after my first practice.
Nice. And then, you know, a pivot a little bit there. You know, obviously Dante's a crucial part too, but your brothers are another part too. You
Yeah.
can't really talk about Nick Caracappa without talking about Matt. You can't talk about Matt without talking about Phil.
Hmm.
You know, what has it been like kind of being like the East Coast, like Diaz brothers in a way, besides you have a 3 versus 2? What's it been to kind of like come up with them around you as well?
Honestly, without my older brothers, I started thinking about this not too long ago. I was like, I wonder where would I be if my two older brothers were like baseball players or football players, like what I would have chose. But I really think in terms of like brothers in the MMA scene, there's no brothers like us. Uh Even like if you look at like the Pettis brothers, they're both made it to UFC, big names. I still think me and my brothers are like more savage than them. Like I think like there's an aura about us when you talk about like the Caracappa brothers that everybody wants to tune in, win or lose. They want to see us fight, whether it's to win or lose. But I think a lot of these promotions are missing out. These big promotions are missing out on the chance of like signing three brothers and having three brothers in the organization. I'm not. My goal isn't to be in the UFC. My goal is to be a world champion in any organization. I would gladly go over to PFL with both my brothers and sign a big deal with them and their bare knuckle. I would even do. I would do anything if there was a deal, a three-way deal from my brothers as well.
Nice. And then, you know, you have a fight booked. Has there been any news on the other two? Any two that haven't talks?
No. My brother Phil's trying to get a fight. I know he's looking for a fight. He had his name being thrown around in a couple different promotions, but nothing ever came to light. My brother Matt, I think he'll definitely get in the cage, whether it's the end of this year or beginning of next year. I know his days aren't done in the cage. I know he'll definitely be back out there one day. Just don't know when it's gonna be.
Mhm. Yeah, life has its own path sometime.
Yeah.
And then, you know, outside of that, for this camp as well, you know, Dante's rooms are full of killers. Who you working with for this one?
So my main partners for this fight's a little bit different than other fights. I've been getting one-on-one working with my good friend of mine. He's a professional boxer, Kevin Coleman. So he's been getting my hands. I wouldn't say right because every time I say that to him, he goes, "You gotta think about it like a an oil change. You're just getting quick tune up. Your hands are already good. You're just tuning up a little thing." So that's how I look at it. Coral Robertson, he's been my main like sparring partner this entire camp. Really, he's been giving me the hardest rounds of my life, where I'm like questioning what the fuck am I even doing walking into practice, knowing I'm about to spar him. But fearless. That's what Carl taught me, to be fearless, to apply fucking pressure, and then to break my opponents. And that's what I plan on doing. I think me and him, we work great together because we have similar minds in the fact that when we fight, like it's carnage. You want to inflict damage. It's not about laying back and getting points. It's about hurting your opponent. And that's exactly how I like to fight. Nick Galante, he teaches me a lot. That kid, he's a great friend and a great teammate. He teaches me all the time about jiu-jitsu off my back, a lot of sneaky shit. Luke Fernandez, I train with daily, jiu-jitsu rounds. Just having him in my ear coaching me is great. Eric Nolan, all the guys over at Dante's. Cheeto Rodriguez, I don't know if you're too familiar with him yet, but he's a fucking beast, dude. I'm calling it now. Once he turns pro, he's probably gonna take out half of the CFFC roster. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the champ right now at 55. That's how good he is. He was a national champion wrestler at JUCO as well.
Yeah, because I
So the
know.
guys I've been training with they're fucking badass, and it doesn't matter what gym in the world someone trains at. Like my opponent, he trains with Sarah Longo. Those guys, that doesn't even really play a factor in my mind because I know the work I'm getting is way better quality work than who he's training with, regardless of if they're a 35 pounder in the UFC or 45 pounder. I know the guys I'm training with are benefiting me more than the shit that he's going on or got going on over there.
Because I know definitely the Carl Robertson edition has been huge because once he kind of came back after his
Uh-huh.
side mission issues, he kind of gave everyone a little level up there. You can
Yeah,
tell with recent fights. So
big spark.
and
Big
outside of that, I
spark.
want to pass the mic to you though. Coming into fights, regionals don't pay too much. It's usually a lot of sponsors and all on the side to kind of help you out a little bit, make it a little easier. I'm gonna
I
pass
gotta
the
get in
mic to
my
you.
other car real quick. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm listening though.
So I'm gonna pass the mic to you to kind of like shout out the sponsor support
Sponsors.
and all that.
I
So
mean, I'm a
Mike's all
one-man
yours.
fucking army. Just know that. My sponsors for this fight is really so far the Skillet. It's one of the best breakfast places in all New Jersey. They have the best breakfasts, whether it's lunch or brunch, anything. They got everything over there. And my strength and conditioning coach, my boy Carmine at Iron House in Freehold. It's one of the best strength and conditioning gyms you'll ever come across of, and he does everything down to a T with a science for my body to know I'm stepping in the cage with the best of my abilities. But as far as sponsors, man, I feel like a lot of companies should start reaching out to me for some equity, getting me get them on my shorts, as I know I'm gonna blow up real soon.
You gotta get Tito to help you out there. Luke has like 30,000 sponsors.
I tell Luke, I say, bro, like, save some for the rest of us around because they're running out. There's no more fucking sponsors anymore from Luke.
Yeah, he's gonna eventually get to the point where his walkout shirts can be like an all around print of just sponsors.
That's
But
funny. Yeah, I was telling him that he should for his jiu-jitsu match he should weigh in with his college singlet, and he was like, nah, dude, I got too many sponsors, I can't leave off. And I was like, yeah, bro, get your money.
yeah, I mean that kid alone, record selling, ticket sales, everything, the whole nine. He's a great example of like what you can do
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
on the regionals.
That's another thing. My teammates, they all have their own like style and they're fighting, and it all plays off on each other. Whether it's like the Luke's like a huge entertainer, you know. Luke can really entertain people, and I know everybody else in the gym feeds off of his energy the same way we all feed off each other.
June 7th, Tropicana. Is that the right casino?
Yeah,
Tropicana.
Tropicana in Atlantic City. I'm gonna knock Alex Brown out, I believe, in the first round. I'm really holding to that. I usually say I'm gonna knock everybody out I fight, and I only have one knockout, so it's not that convenient. But everybody I do fight, it turns into a war. But this fight, I'm not really looking for a war. I'm not looking to go out there and just trade blow for blow like I did in my pro debut. I honestly feel like this fight is gonna be the best fight of my life so far. I'm gonna be calculated and calm and just pick my shots, and I know once I land one hard one, it's gonna put him out or he's gonna get TKO'd.
Nice. So June 7th, Atlantic City. Tickets are still available. And then I'll also link that you do like Toro TV or some like Russian looking website to stream it as
I'm not
well.
too sure.
Decent feed. Last card didn't go too well because there was a fight in the stands. They had to cut the feed for a little bit because Jersey's going to be Jersey.
Are you
And
talking about my fight?
the last fight actually for Ring of Combat, there was a big giant fight in the stands. They had to kill the feed.
Oh, I know, because that happened to me at a past event for not Ring of Combat, but their brother promotion.
Yeah, I will say because of that, I was a little shocked to see your name pop up for a Lou Neglia card.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, sure.
But
And money speaks. They want me, so I'm going.
So best of skill. I'll link everything below as well as your socials, and then people can either reach out, I think, or Ticketmaster for tickets.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Thanks for your time.
Got it, bro. Thank you.